Hello there, and welcome. Well, there's been a little glitch in the episodes. It's probably because I'm trying to plan the last month of my episodes and get everything finished up and covered. I have this compulsion to write down everything, to get it all put down on paper in a book, because I'm that kind of person. So that's what I've been working on, and that's what I've been thinking about. And for this last time that I'm going to be telling a story like this, I want to tell you about the time that I influenced my brothers, and especially John. I retired early, and I retired early to care for Mother, which was fun. I think John was very thankful that I was able to do that, because it made it easier for all of us to feel relaxed in relation to Mother. She had somebody with her all the time, and so it was going to be fine, because she had somebody caring for her who could take her to the doctor, who could let people know what was going on, so that she didn't have to, as she grew much older, try to navigate the world without support. And so me retiring early was fine, even though he was not going to retire. So when he'd come to visit, he discovered that I had gotten into this thing that I used to do right after I retired, that I still do sometimes, but not nearly as much. And so I'm going to set the frame for you. When John would come to visit, I would make breakfast for him and for Carol and for Mother and me, and do the things that you do to keep a house up, to be a domestic. I was a domestic and a personal assistant to Mother, so that's what I did. But there was one day a week where I indulged in something slightly different. And John observed it and became fascinated by it. On Wednesdays, I used to watch a show that was on Wednesday mornings called American Restoration. And I have no idea really where this show came from or where it went. But I used to love it, because it was this group of sort of hardscrabble fellas and women that would come into this Vegas workshop and bring in their old stuff and have it rejuvenated. Old toys, old bicycles, old vehicles, just so many these old broken down items. And they would restore them. Sometimes better than new, just depending upon the thinking about the items. I used to love watching that. There's something in me that gets great encouragement out of rejuvenating something that's falling apart. And I find myself drawn to it. I like watching it happen. And it started a long time ago by watching a show called This Old House on PBS, where they worked on houses. And of course, I came by that interest naturally because Daddy was a builder. He was a man who liked to fix things up. And so I grew up seeing that as sort of an heroic activity. So I would sit on Wednesday mornings and watch American Restoration and answer the phone. And if you answer the phone, you're going to get telemarketers. Now, we had a lot of them for two reasons. One was Mother once fell for a scam. And once you fall for a scam, it's over. You're on all the lists. Your number is going to come up over and over and over again. If you can't take that, then you need to go ahead and change your number or get rid of your landline or whatever it is you're going to do. Now, to Mother's credit, she only got caught in it once, and she only lost about $400 to it. There are people that get caught in it who lose a lot more, and I feel really deep sympathy for them. But what I started doing after I retired, Mother would be maybe sleeping in. It might be 9 o'clock in the morning, and the phone's ringing, so I'm answering it. And I learned how to fool the auto voices because they use auto dialers and recorded voices, and they've begun employing AI to create these little prompts, which is interesting. But it's not very sophisticated AI. But they use auto dialers, and then they come on and they try to get information from you. And whether they're, quote, scammers, unquote, or just desperate marketers, telemarketers, it didn't really matter to me. I wasn't going to be giving them any money. What I wanted to do was get them into conversation. And I would do it by talking with them, like literally talking with them. So I would ask them, how long have you been doing this job? Or I would just sort of try to engage in conversation with them. Who is it you're trying to reach? Who would you like to talk to? But oftentimes I would also test out things like figuring out if I could get them to be honest about where they were, who they were. Where are you? Who are you? Your name is not... The last one that I caught that was really stupid, he said his name was Stephen Miller, and I'm like, okay. Yeah. So John watched me do this, and he got amused by it. And so then he wanted to play. He wanted to get on the phone and see if he could play with these people. And so he did. So when John would come to visit, he would like jump on the phone and see if he could get through to a real person and then talk to a real person. He was not as motivated by trying to probe their psychology, which was what was interesting to me, I'll be honest with you. I'm very interested in the way people think and feel about their work. And so I'm ready to probe. I'm ready to ask. And I ask very pointed, sometimes interesting, sometimes difficult questions. And John would ask those, but he'd also ask ridiculous things and say ridiculous things. And I think he would say that I was saying ridiculous things too. The thing is, when Dean came to visit and he saw me doing this, he too got into it. Now, by the time Dean saw me doing it, I had moved to a different stage. I try hard to convince telemarketers to quit their jobs. I try to tell them that they need to do something where they can be honest and they can do people good, and that the job is bad for them. And I will tell them their soul is at risk. Which I believe, okay? I think if you're involved in something where you're lying all day long, every day, it's not just that you're hurting other people. You are hurting other people, but you're hurting yourself. You're destroying your own sense of what's good and decent in the world. And you're putting your soul at risk if you give yourself over to that kind of thing. Anyway, Dean was like, wow, you really work on these people. So he started doing it too. I don't think he does it at his house. I think the only place this really gets done is my house. And it's because really my siblings and I, there's something in us, in the combination of mother and daddy, that came together in us. And there are certain things where we're alike. We have big differences of attitude and of experience, obviously because they're all men and I'm a woman. But there is a sort of perverse sense of humor in us, and an intensity that enjoys exploring the world in ways that most people don't usually explore it. And so that was one of the experiences that I had with John, and he began to call it was Wednesday morning, watch TV and dick around with telemarketers. And I'm sorry about the language, but that's what he would say. I don't have one of those. Anyway, when Johnny would come and he'd play along and we would do this together, it became kind of fun. It was kind of like a game. And there's nothing that Johnny loved more than a game. And what was great about this game was one that he I don't think he ever really played cooperative games that much, where you work together. Those are very popular now, but this one was one where John and I were working together. We were armed against the telemarketers, and there are millions of them. I hope you have no telemarketer calls today, and you have a glorious time. And I hope you see me again, you gorgeous people.